ReefDudes is sponsored by Ecotech Marine and Bulk Reef Supply. Alright guys, today we're going to do a bit of a sump overhaul on the office tank, mainly because the plug died, but we'll get to that. What's going on guys, Devin from ReefDudes. Now, a week or two ago, the power plug back here for my reef tank died, so the crappy thing is, it is behind the sump, so I cannot get to it, which means in order to fix this, I'm going to have to remove my sump. Now that was also for my computer. And you can see right now I have this very lovely cord draped over going to another plug. But we want to get things back in order. So we are going to go through the slightly painful process of draining the sump today. I'm going to remove all the gear out of here. We're going to give it a good citric acid bath, get everything cleaned up, and kind of hopefully fix that plug and reinstall everything and get her back to like pristine. I think I'm actually going to redo this section here and make like a frag rack and, you know, take all the random stuff that's just sitting in my tank and, you know, clean it up a bit and make things a little nicer. So, and I also feel that the tank almost feels a bit too cluttery, so I think I'm actually going to remove some of the rock from here as well and thin it out a bit and make a little more space, a little more nicer for display, a little more room for fish and flowy. And yeah, so it's going to be an overhaul day for sure. So that was definitely a long process to get all the gear out of there and citric acid it and clean everything. So I got all the hardwares out, so I'm going to use the good old Ultra Zero and fill up the brute and drain the sump and pull this out, and then I'm going to refill it with water and citric acid and let it run for a couple hours just to get rid of all the nasty calcification and all the little white crustacean dots and coralline and all that jazz, and we'll get it back to pristine before we install it. And that will give us access to the plug in the back, so I can actually pop it out and put in a new GFCI. Alright, that was an excessively large amount of work, but we got the plug replaced. I cut back and cleaned up some of the wiring that was behind it. We put in a new GFCI, cleaned up a lot of the wires that was back here. I got all the power bricks for the lights mounted underneath, got the 2 blade ones in the corner. So I really did a lot of cleanup here. This is from our auto top off line, which we'll put back in over there. I have the probes dipping in citric acid, so I really did a lot of cleanup. This is probably the biggest overhaul this tank sump has had in a long time. I think I am going to get rid of the UV and just change the plumbing on this one, so I'll order some parts for that. And just simplify the sump. I decided in the middle I'm going to do a frag section in there. So I did just order another XR15 Pro with the narrow lens kit though. So I'm going to mount that up super high, and hopefully the narrow lens will work and give me a little frag section. And then I can get rid of all the random stuff in my display and clean it up. And again, I think I'm going to remove a little more rock too and just, you know, make it a little more minimalistic. And once this fills up, we'll mix in some salt and use that to refill the sump, which I still got to wheel back into the office and get it in there. Now this thing is excessively big. If you saw that other scene, it is basically the size of my bathtub, which moving this by myself sucked and making me question why I did such a big sump. But c'est la vie. Well, that ended up being a ton of work to pull everything out to replace that GFCI outlet, but it's been replaced and everything is working. You know, tank's up and running off that outlet again. It was a good excuse to do a lot of maintenance. This is probably the biggest clean this tank has ever had. You know, all the gear, all the equipment, you know, looking new and pristine. Give me an excuse to mount everything and just really clean things up. So now we are finally starting to fill it again. And it'll probably take more than one brute to fill this up because she's a big beast. But yeah, we should be back in business shortly. Funny how much more flow I'm getting out of the Vectras now. This guy's giving me tons of flow from what it was before. I think I dropped down to like 8%. It goes to show how gunked up it was and how big of a benefit cleaning your pumps are. So at the very least of all this pain and effort, hopefully I've inspired people to give their tanks a little maintenance, do a little cleaning. A couple little additions too. I added the little skimmer controller, velcroed it to the side of the stand. If you can see it, same with the Clara C controller, again on that little middle post. So just a bunch of little things for easier access and cleanup, which is kind of nice additions as well during this process. And then again, hopefully later this week, I will get the extra 15 I ordered, and then we'll put that in the middle for a bit of a frag light. I did get the narrow lens kit, because I do want to mount it almost at the top of this, just so I have lots of space underneath. So hopefully that will work out well. So we'll find out on that one. As for everything else, dosing containers and whatnot, that's all turned off for now, so I'll get that hooked up tomorrow. And yeah, I think the rest of it, everything else is pretty much good to go, just other than cleaning up the tank, but that'll be for a future update. It is late at night, and this was a lot of work, so hopefully you guys were semi-entertained through my pain and sump maintenance makeover. As always, if you enjoyed, hit that like button. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next update.